Hello, it's me. Life just got a little bit weird and I kind of got into this mentality of getting back into making stuff and I was going to get back into it and then, things just didn't happen and I spiraled, which the spiral has kind of just turned into me watching almost the entirety of Grey's Anatomy in the span of less than 2 months, which is probably not healthy. But we're doing it. We're almost done. We've almost caught up with actual time Grey's Anatomy, and that's not why you're watching this video, hearing about me watching Grey's Anatomy. But I have probably it's been quite cathartic. I think the crying process that Grey's gives you is quite helpful. Um, so that's where I've been. Also, in my absence, I bought a lot of books. There's a big pile of books next to me, like that. This noise, that's me hitting the top of the pile. I also think there's 2 other books that I've got recently in my bedroom because I'm in between multiple books right now, which is not something I enjoy doing, but I am because apparently I'm chaotic now. This is actually going to be my last book haul probably until Christmas, because I am going on a book buying ban. I say I'm on a book buying ban. I bought the last book that is in this pile and decided that I had so much on my TBR and I'd kind of been neglecting a lot of my TBR and was just doing this like consistent trying to fill the void of buying books and realizing I just wasn't reading things that I own and I really want to try and get through them and actually take it seriously and read books and review books and do what I actually set out to do on this channel. So without further ado, let's get into what is my last book haul until Christmas. First book that I got was Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. This was in, I'm going to hold this way because I have a microphone that you can't see. I use this microphone for my podcast. I have a podcast, it's Strange Things podcast, that I co-host with my friend Emily. If you're interested in Strange Things, please check out the Hawkins New Copy podcast, links in the description. So I got Six Crimson Cranes. This was really hard to say the title of. So this focuses on Shiori, who is the only princess in her kingdom, and she has a secret, and it's that forbidden magic runs in her veins, and at her like betrothal ceremony kind of gets out of control, and she kind of realizes her stepmother has her own secrets, not too great, so she kind of has to, in order to protect her family and protect herself, kind of go on the run on her own, which is the first time this has happened, to try and figure out what's going on. This book kind of took me by surprise. Loads of people were talking about it and the cover is really pretty. My cousin went to Waterstones one day. It was like a big Waterstones. I think I was in isolation at that point, was I? I think I was isolating for like a medical procedure or something, and she was like, do you want anything from this Waterstones, seeing as you can't go outside? And I was like, yes, that one, because she sent me a picture of the new releases. So I got this one, and I really enjoyed it. I started it like straight away. I took it into the hospital with me, but then it kind of just got put on hold because apparently I start books now and then don't finish them, and then Arian Dante came out, the sequel, but I am going to get back to it and finish it, so there we go. Then I got The Obsidian Tower by Melissa Caruso. This book was literally just a random purchase that I made one day in Waterstones. I've been enjoying, when I was buying books, I kind of was enjoying just kind of going and like seeing which books kind of called to me and which ones I sort of hadn't really heard of that sounded really good, because I don't do that enough. I don't just kind of go to a bookshop and just like vibe. I kind of go there with something in mind because everyone kind of talks about it, which is fine, but it's really nice sometimes because I think a lot of books kind of lay forgotten. So I picked this one up, not that this book is forgotten, but I just hadn't heard people talk about it. You know what I'm trying to say. And I really didn't know much about it, like buying it, aside from what the blurb says, which was deep within a Gloomengard castle lies a black tower. Sealed by ancient magic, it guards a dangerous secret that has been contained for thousands of years. As warden, Rexander knows the warding passed down through generations. Nothing must unseal the door, but one impetuous decision will leave her with blood on her hands and unleash a threat that could doom the world to fall to darkness. And this is the beginning of a trilogy. It sounded really cool. We love a forbidden, you can't do this moment, because you like immediately, when it's like when you have a button and someone's like, don't press the button, and then suddenly every single urge in you is like, press the button. So if this is a door that can't be opened, like your immediate urge would just be, go open the door. So you know, I understand, and it sounds really, really cool. I've been looking for more series to read because I haven't read a series in a really long time, like from start to finish, and kind of I haven't had that experience for a really long time. So I've been reading a lot of standalones and a lot of contemporaries, so trying to get back into kind of reading more series and actually like committing to a series and, you know, finishing a book. So this one sounded really, really cool. I also went to Gaze the Word recently, which is a bookshop in London. I love Gaze the Word. I haven't been since before lockdown, obviously, because things are all closed and were closed and everything. But we went back, which was really exciting, and I got some books, obviously. I got Beautiful Music for Ugly Children by Kristen Cron Mills, and this focuses on Gabe, who is a trans boy, but everyone thinks that he has just gone mad, and that's not actually the case. But Gabe knows who he is and who he wants the world like to know he is, and it's really cool because Gabe is a radio presenter. He really enjoys it, and he talks about how like Gabe is his B-side, which people don't see as much, but then Elizabeth, which was his name that he was given at birth, is his A-side, the side that people see more often, and he wants people to see his B-side. And it sounded really cool. I hadn't heard of it before. It won a Stonewall Award, which is very cool. I'm really looking forward to reading it. It's a book which sounded amazing and one that I'm really, really looking forward to diving into. Then I also got 1500 Miles from the Sun, Can't See It, by Johnny Garzavia, and honestly, don't know too much about this book. I saw the cover in Gaze the Word, really liked it, thought this looked really cool, and then the back isn't blurb, it's literally reviews. And Aidan Thomas, who wrote Cemetery Boys and is amazing and one of my favourite authors, has a quote that says, "The gay happily ever after romance I long for as a teen, with its fun and refreshing voice. The book depicts a long-distant relationships that is sweet and authentic. This book tackles the intense, nuanced struggles queer Latinx kids face with care and compassion. It's a story of love, hope, and healing that we all need right now." And that was enough for me to purchase this book. I really don't know much more about it other than that. Really excited about it, and it's definitely one that I'm going to read soon. Then I got the physical copy of a book that I have as a audiobook and an ebook, which is Where Do We Go From Here by Lucas Rocha. This actually focuses on 3 different people and their experience with HIV. There's Enrique, who has had HIV for 3 years, Ian, who has just tested positive for HIV, and Victor, who hooked up with Enrique the night before and thinks that he may have it. And it's all 3 of them navigating treatment and friendship and relationships and love and who they are, and kind of the judgment and ignorance surrounding HIV, because there was a lot of that. Obviously back when HIV first became a thing, there was a awful and disgusting amount of judgment and people not taking it as seriously as they should have and brushing it off as something that only gay people got, and like treatment for it was not taken as seriously, and treatment has come so far, which is amazing. There is still kind of this weird stigma around it, and I feel like that's not spoken about as much as it should. Like, I think we kind of look at the way that treatment has developed and think that that's really good, because it is, but we kind of then ignore that there's still so much kind of discrimination and judgment and ignorance surrounding HIV. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Like I said, I got it on the ebook and have been wanting to read it properly for ages and just hadn't picked it up. And then I saw the book in the wild, and I'd never actually seen the book in a while before. Genuinely, I had never seen a physical copy of it, so I decided to pick it up. Then I got the physical copy again. I had this as an audiobook of One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Casey McQuiston wrote Red, White and Royal Blue, which I really enjoyed. I read it a couple of years ago. I think it was like the year it came out, 2019, did it come out? I read it in 2019 anyway. I took it on holiday with me, and I just ended up binging it. Like, it was so good, and I've been really looking forward to reading that new book, which is One Last Stop. I've heard really good things from some of my friends, and I really like the way that Casey McQuiston writes. I think that they're a really good author. And this book was not what I thought. Like, this book literally has like time travel elements in it, I think, which I just was not expecting. This is on August, who is 23 and has just moved to New York City. Then on the train, she meets Jane, and kind of August is quite cynical, doesn't really believe in love and like cinematic fairy tale, but she meets Jane, and Jane is kind of looking a little bit lost, and she's dressed not from this time, really. She's fully dressed like she's just stepped out of the 1970s, which, I mean, she has just done. And it's kind of trying to figure out their feelings, but also trying to figure out where Jane is from and how to get her back and everything that's going on there. I was not expecting that to be the case. I am always a little bit reluctant when things are like time travel-y and involve stuff, because like it really has to be done right. It has to be done in a really specific way. It's something I'm really picky about, which I should be not as picky about, but I am really picky about anything that involves any type of time travel or any type of like timeline situation. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it's done. Like I said, I've heard really good things, and I'm looking forward to starting it. Then I have a book that people have been telling me to get for ages. Genuinely, I've seen so many people talk about it, and this book has a sequel as well, I think, so that kind of comes into me reading series again. That is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Marin. Once again, like, books don't really have big blurbs anymore. This just says, bound as one to love, honour or burn, a witch and witch hunter thrust into holy matrimony. There's only one way such a story could end, a stake and a match. Just in itself sounds really cool. So this was actually on the table in Waterstones, and I hadn't ever seen it on an actual table. I'd only ever seen sort of people talking about it. I hadn't seen it in stores, and this is one that I have been hearing about for years. And really do want to read. I'm just glad they had a physical copy finally, which is really cool. Just gonna sort out my hearing aid because it kept wanting to fall out of my ear. Then I got The City We Became by N.K.Jemisin, and this is a book I wanted to read for such a long time. First of all, please appreciate the amazing turquoisey edges that this version of the book has. Phenomenal. This book, all I kind of know about it is what it says on the back, which is just every city has a soul. Some are ancient as myths, others as new and destructive as children, but New York has 6. And it says, and all 6 will be called to arms in the biggest battle the city has ever fought. And that just sounds incredible. I love New York. It is my favourite place. I just think this sounds so good. I've heard so many good things about this book. N.K.Jemisin is an author that I've been recommended for so long, and I actually have a massive chunk of N.K.Jemisin books now, which I'm really looking forward to getting into, because as an author I've heard nothing but good things, so I cannot wait. I think I'm going to start with this one and then tackle some of the series. So yeah, I'm really, really excited for this one. Then I got The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackworth. This is another book where I just kind of went into Waterstones and saw what books kind of caught my eye and what I kind of was vibing with. And I really like books that are about books. I'm going to make a whole video about books that are about books. And this one sounds really cool. So it literally, every book that is left unfinished by its author goes to a specific place in hell, and they are looked over by Claire, who is the head librarian. She repairs and organises books and kind of looks over them and makes sure everything's okay, and she also has to keep an eye on some of the characters trying to escape the unwritten wing and the library, and then a hero escapes from one of like his book and tries to get out, and it is everything from there. I just think this sounds so cool. It sounds like such an interesting premise. It just sounds so cool. So I'm really, really looking forward to reading this one. I think this is going to be really good. And it's one that I'm really looking forward to. Then I got Symptoms of Being Human by Jeff Garvin. This is a book that I've wanted to read for a really long time, and it's another one that I saw when I was in Gaze the Word. And this focuses on Riley, who is gender fluid. Some days Riley identifies as a boy, some days Riley identifies as a girl. And Riley isn't really out yet, so is just trying to deal with life and school. Riley's dad is a congressman, is running for re-election, so there's quite a lot of media involvement. So then a therapist says to Riley about starting an anonymous blog to kind of vent out feelings, and it's kind of exploring what it means to be a gender fluid teenager, and is getting all of that out on the blog, and it's sort of everything from there. I've heard so many good things about this book and I've wanted to read it for years, so now is definitely the time, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Then we have Future Feeling by Joss Lake, and this is a book which was recommended to me in Gaze the Word. So I don't know anything about this book. I was told world. It was really good, and I took the guy's word for it. He seemed really excited about it, and I really, really loved that. The cover is really cool. I'm going to read you the blurb because, like I said, I'm going into this relatively blind. It says the year is 20 blank, and Penfold R. Henderson is in a rut. When he's not walking dogs for cash or responding to booty calls from his B-list celebrity hookup, he's holed up in his dingy Bushwick apartment, obsessing over holograms of Aidan Chase, a fellow trans man and influencer documenting his picture-perfect transition into masculinity on the gram. After an IRL encounter with Aidan leaves Penn feeling especially resentful, Penn enlists his roommates, the witch and the stoner hacker, to put their talents to use in hexing Aidan. When the hex accidentally bypasses Aidan, sending another young trans man named Blythe to the Shadowlands, the dreaded emotional landscape through which every trans person must journey to achieve self-actualization, the Ritz, the quasi-benevolent Big Brother agency overseeing all trans matters, orders Penn and Aidan to retrieve him. As they make their way into a world that includes pitless avocados and subway cars that change colour based on occupants' collective moods, Penn starts to learn that sometimes a family isn't just the people who birthed you. Really, really looking forward to this. Like, the back really drew me in, and like I said, the bookseller was really, really, really excited about this book, so I'm really looking forward to reading it soon. Then I have Afterlife by Tanya Bryan, and this focuses on Ash, who I believe is in a car accident and then kind of gets this invitation from the afterlife to join girl reapers who take the souls of the deceased in the city and take them to await their fates. But Ash can't forget her first love, Poppy, and kind of wants to do anything she possibly can to see her again. And it is that story. I've heard loads of good things about this. Lots of people were talking about this online, and I saw it everywhere for a big chunk of time, which is really good. And then I saw it in my Waterstones, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Then finally, I have Sasha Masha, which is another book that I hadn't really heard of before. I keep putting it this way and you're not going to see it. It's a book I hadn't really heard of before. It's by Agnes Borinsky. It's another book that I saw when I didn't get it from Gazelwood. I think I got it from Foyles. I got it on that same day, but I also went to Foyles. Like, this is another one that I hadn't really heard of, but when I read the blurb, it was one that I was so excited about. 17-year-old Alex just wants to be a real boy, to feel like he belongs in his home, in his family, in his skin. Then Tracy comes along, offering the perfect opportunity for Alex to fit in. Tracy loves Alex's goofy smile and finds his awkwardness charming. Soon the two begin dating. Still, Alex feels strange as he accepts the role of boyfriend. In his daydreams, he imagines a different version of himself, swiping on lipstick and slipping into sunset orange dresses. When he meets the beautiful and confident Andre, all sorts of windows open in Alex's heart. Slowly, Alex begins to realise maybe his name isn't Alex at all, maybe it's Sasha Masha. Transgender author Agnes Borinsky deftly explores gender identity and queer romance in his evocative and profound debut novel. So that's another one that I'm really, really looking forward to reading. Like I said, a lot of these books have really taken me off guard. I didn't know about a big chunk of them before, and I'm really excited to delve into them because I really love it. Like, it's so nice when there's a book that you're really, really looking forward to, but it's also really nice when books take you by surprise. But yes, that was my most recent book haul. That will be my last book haul for a little while, so that's very exciting. We love a book buying ban. It is the first book buying ban I've ever actively given myself, and I'm trying to actively stick to. But I think I'm doing really well, and I am slowly getting back into properly reading and slowly making my way through books that I own rather than buying new ones. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry that I've been gone so long. Like I said, things have been a little bit weird. And just not the best time, but we're getting back into it, and things are getting better, and it'll be all good. If you guys are new here, I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fandom things, so if you want to stick around and join us, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. You can also now become a channel member, which is really fun, and we have a Discord where I want to talk about books with you guys. I just kind of launched it before I went AWOL again, so I don't know if people sort of know about it, but those are all things that you can do if you would so like, so wish. It's up to you. I would recommend though putting the little notifications on, because if you don't make videos for a while, they don't show up in subscription boxes, which is really frustrating, but it's the way the YouTube algorithm works, which is really annoying. So if you do want to know when I make videos, please notification. And if you want to come hang out with me on my other social medias, all the links are in the description, and also the link to my Stranger Things podcast. Like I said, it's called Hawkins Do You Copy, and I co-host it with my friend Emily, so if you want to come and check out that, if you're a fan of Stranger Things, why not? Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.